one particular line which I got benefited the most from each of you. So first thing what I wanted to tell thankful is you told me that you don't think everything, just focus on the application. So then I got a confidence that I should not just, like for example, for UPSC or other interviews, what we do is we read everything under the sun. We have to be prepared for everything.
Right.
But you gave me the confidence that ISB is not about everything. ISB is just about you. You just know yourself. You just have the clarity of why you are coming to ISB and what you want to do. That's it. The most number of interactions I had is with Prashant for the application strategy.
Okay.
So he completely understood me, because we at least talked for 10 to 15 times. He completely understood me. I genuinely told him everything about me, what I had gone through, what I want to achieve, and what kind of roles I want to aspire for. Luckily, the first question after the second question in the interview was this: tell me about your failure, like what failure you had gone through.
Right.
So if had I not removed that and had I continued with UPSC, maybe it might have projected that this person had failed 4 years of his valuable life. So maybe it might have got projected like that. So for that, I have to be thankful to Prashant. Like one line, what I have to say is I completely got a structured measurement of how to prepare.
Okay. So Harshit, congratulations again to making it to this prestigious program. I must tell you that this is a very competitive thing to go through the entire process, and then getting a call for an interview and finally getting an admit. And you have aced it. So congratulations again. As discussed.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we do this video primarily for a reason where we want to showcase your experience to people who come from similar backgrounds. And of late, we are seeing that there are many applicants who are coming from government experiences, both state and central. So your experience, which you will share today, will be of a great help to people who are coming with similar background in their decision making and also preparing for the PGP program. Okay. So let's start by understanding your academics and also the professional journey till date.
Yeah, thank you, Vikram. Thanks for the opportunity. So first of all, let me thank particularly you and the ISBmantra entire team for guiding me through this journey. So coming to my background, like I have a good, decent academics in 10th, intermediate, as well as in engineering, BTech. So after my graduation, I started UPSC preparation. So for about 4 years, I prepared for UPSC. And apart from UPSC, I did not give any exam during those 3 to 4 years of time. Strongly, I prepared for UPSC. So because of that preparation, I could crack exam, which is called Intelligence Bureau, Assistant Central Intelligence Officer, which is a central government service. So after that, I worked 4 years in Punjab. And after that, because of the same preparation, UPSC preparation, I also cracked services examination. So because of that, I landed in the top 50 rank and achieved a post called MPDO, which is an equivalent of Block Development Officer as referred in many states of India. So what I learned from my UPSC preparation is like there is many things to learn, and it is not like one job and one particular role, and for the rest 30-35 years that person will be in that role. So if somebody become an IAS officer, every 2 to 3 years his roles and functionalities will keep changing. The way he contributes to the country or the state, whether at the grassroots level, the policy execution level, or at the policy implementation or drafting level, so it changes every 2-3 years. So I always wanted to have the dynamism of functionality and level of contribution to the country. But as I could not enter into the All India services, I felt that I should also have the eligibility to apply to aspire for higher level positions, like maybe in lateral entry positions in the future, or advisory positions in institutions like Niti Aayog or Prime Minister Advisory Council at the center. Or in state, there are institutions like AP Startup Advisory Body or AP Innovation Society, where many the CEOs and managers of these institutions are ISB or IM alumni. So I thought I should also have this route. And particularly when I was an Intelligence Bureau officer, one of my seniors also has landed in ISB after giving GMAT. So then I thought that someday if I feel that I should execute my plan B as I don't get the All India services, So then, yes, GMAT is a good route, and ISB is also the top tier institution in the country, and it is ranked in top 30 in the globe. So I thought this is a good route, and now recently last year I have decided that I should pursue that route. So many employees like me working in the government, like they want to execute Plan B, but many of them may not have the right idea on how to execute it. So
Right.
in my opinion, GMAT and then ISB or IIM Ahmedabad is a very good way to execute the Plan B. And if somebody wants to come back to the service also, this route is fine because we can go on a sabbatical leave for 1 year,
Right.
gain the opportunity and experience there, give ourselves the opportunity and come back to the service. Actually, this gives a bit of confidence. In government, the thing is like whatever work you put, the promotions are fixed. The time
Yeah.
scale is fixed.
Right.
After certain number of years, you'll be promoted.
Right.
So at any point of time, if you want to be dynamic and shift positions, you should have a strong MBA, PGP degree. So for that, I felt ISB is the right way to do.
Right. Great. And what is your career plan, after you finished MBA? Now that you have an exposure to a central government, working with the central government and also now with the state government, and that also you have achieved after writing two of the toughest exams, which happens in India. So what made you think about doing an MBA, and what is that you are trying to achieve after MBA?
So first thing what I wanted to learn is I wanted to learn the art of this business and entrepreneurship and to gain that experience and to gain the network of pan India network of both bureaucratic network as well as the professional business network. So I wanted to enter ISB to have the eligibility of aspiring opportunities. That's it. I didn't want to stay in the same role of MPDO or whatever government job for the next 25 or 30 years and just follow the government pace of promotions. So I wanted to give myself a platform where I could aspire higher. So in short, I don't have any fixed short term goals. I'm open for everything, but in the long term, obviously, I would want to lead institutions. What I have revealed earlier, like I want to at least aspire for higher level managerial positions in institutions like Niti Aayog or in governance institutions like EP. So if you can see, the central government have already started lateral entry positions, and the government is
Yes,
also evolving. It is not entirely. It's not depending on the bureaucracy
indeed.
because in every department, Vikram, for example, in state of Andhra Pradesh, for example, I have seen many professionals from Tata Institute of Social Sciences working in departments like Panchayat Raj and Tribal Welfare Department. So they are planning and executing all the key policies of these departments, and they are implementing at the ground level also.
Mm.
So they come as a lateral advisors. They have
Right.
the opportunity to work with the ministers and the chief minister, and whenever they want to leave, they have the opportunity because they have a good MBA background. So they can shift to any other positions, any other department. So I
Right.
wanted to have the dynamism and freedom of aspiring for higher positions. So that is the reason I aspired for ISB, which is the best MBA in the country.
Right. So, while you were making up your mind for ISB, did you also explore some public policy programs offered by like the TIS, as you mentioned, and there are many other
Yes.
institutions?
Initially, when I thought of ISB, when I discussed with some of my friends and some of my superiors also, many of them advised for public policy.
Hmm.
So I went through the ISB public policy, Bharati Institute of Public Policy, and other B schools like TIS. And even I have thought of abroad also, but I decided that I will not be going abroad because I can confidently say that India is my strength. I know my country. For the
Right.
last 10 years, I have been reading about it, my UPSC preparation. And thankfully, both my jobs are all grounded jobs. Like I am on the ground, both my eyes and ears are on the ground as IB officer, as MPD officer. So I know the country and its institutions. I have a basic idea of all departments of the country. So I felt I should be in the country, and as it's a growing economy, I can aspire myself for many opportunities. So then I decided that public policy again will get me narrower because my background for the last 10 years is always already in the government sector. And if
Hmm.
I go for public policy again, I will confine myself to that only.
Hmm.
So especially, I think I was also advised by Prashant particularly that you don't think of just public policy, like you should learn everything what ISP provides you.
Right.
You have the potential, just go for PGP and learn everything at ISP and then decide yourself whether you want to narrow yourself in the public sector or open yourself to all the opportunities in the country.
Right. Great. And so, you were preparing for UPSC, then you cracked IB, and then again you prepared for another government exam. Then you started working in Anantagiri as an MPDO. What were your application strategy and primary focus areas while building your application?
Initially, before I talked to you and Prashant, what I decided was like I should, like as advised by you, I sat one question per day. So 3 days I was sitting on one particular question for three ISB application essays, and I just, because I am good at drafting also thanks to UPSC preparation, I just wanted to genuinely put down what all I wanted to present before the ISB.
Right.
What are my strengths and weaknesses? So then, obviously, what I focused was I'm confident with what I know. Even during the ISB interview preparation, my last line was, "Whatever I know confidently. Whatever I don't know, I don't know." That was my answer. Because it's not just bookish learning. During the UPSC preparation, what we do is just reading the books. But thankfully, my personal experience in both the jobs was I could implement a lot of things on the ground with my own hands, with the knowledge what I had. So I focused my strengths with that only. I played with my strengths, which is implementation on the ground level. For example, as MPDO, I implemented some initiatives in education sector as well as in revenue generation sector on the ground, which may be minimal compared to other sectors, but in a tribal area like Anantagiri, whatever few lakhs of money we are able to generate means a lot to the small development initiatives we take here.
Indeed. Yeah.
So I only presented on that. Even like Prashant also guided me. Navinder sir also guided me in these things only. So they could also identify what are the strengths I had, and we projected on this only. So I wanted the interview, my ISB interview, to focus on my strengths and my implementation.
Correct.
And luckily, they also talked about. They were also intrigued about my diverse background.
Yes.
So they were also asking what you do as an IB officer, what you do as a development officer, and what are you doing sitting in a tribal area, in the interior area.
Right.
So they were also doubtful, like how this person is working in an area where there is no signal even in 2024.
Right. Right.
So
And
I also focused on that on.
right, right. And while building your application, once you started working with us, you started working with the consultant. So, what were some of the key inputs you received, from the alum with whom you was working, which were very helpful for you in perhaps putting up a different perception or putting up a different way of what you were earlier thinking about yourself in the application.
Yeah, because I actually wanted to share it, and I prepared one particular line which I got benefited the most from each of you. So, first thing what I wanted to tell thankful is you told me that you don't think everything, just focus on the application. So then I got a confidence that I should not just, like for example, for UPSC or other interviews, what we do is we read everything under the sun. We have to be prepared for everything.
Right.
But you gave me the confidence that ISB is not about everything. ISB is just about you. You just know yourself. You just have the clarity of why you are coming to ISB and what you want to do. That's it.
Right.
So that gave me a direction. First of all, I was not going through the newspapers, or I'm not reading my entire resume and all. I was just, it's like just introspecting, sitting on the table and just opening my book and pen and writing what I wanted to write. So that was the biggest tip you gave me. And then coming to Prashant, I had the most number of interactions I had is with Prashant for the application strategy.
Right.
So he completely understood me, because we at least talked for 10 to 15 times. He completely understood me. I genuinely told him everything about me, what I had gone through, what I want to achieve, and what kind of roles I want to aspire for. So he very meticulously wrote within the word limit, which I felt very happy. Like he could completely write whatever I wanted to write. Right. And the biggest tip what he gave me, or what the suggestion or direction what he gave us, initially in the application, second application essay, there is a thing about success and failure, which is your biggest success and biggest failure.
Right.
So I wrote that my biggest failure or the biggest lessons I have learned from a failure is my UPSC preparation. So, but he told that you don't think your UPSC preparation is a failure, which is actually true.
Yeah.
So just because you don't get one particular job doesn't mean that your UPSC preparation is a failure.
Indeed.
So the understanding you have, the knowledge you have, the kind of roles you have done in both central and state governments, and the kind of initiatives you are doing, all these are part of the UPSC preparation, the achievements of your UPSC preparation. So don't project it as a failure, and then he removed that completely. And then we, like out of my professional things, we arranged a thing like a failure, which is having a bit of success and a failure, because again, it should not project that this is completely a failure project.
Right.
So then I focused on one project which I done an IB officer, which in which there was both a part of success and part of failure.
Right.
So that was the biggest thing, and luckily the first question after the second question in the interview was this: tell me about your failure, like what failure you had gone through.
Right.
So if had I not removed that and had I continued with UPSC, maybe it might have projected that this person had failed 4 years of his valuable life. So maybe it might
Yeah.
have got projected like that. So
Correct.
for that, I have to be thankful to Prashant for guiding me the right way.
Nice.
And then coming to Navinder sir, like he gave me a structured preparation. Like he told during the career counseling session, they will certainly ask you why you want to come to ISB.
Actually, we
So
will.
I prepared.
I have a relevant question for that. So let's discuss that part
Yeah,
in the
okay,
relevant
okay,
question. Okay. All right.
sure.
So the next question is, how much time did ISB gave you to prepare for your admissions interview? I mean, when you
Around
applied, from there to
uh,
receiving the offer, receiving the admit letter, and then the actual interview happening, what was this time duration?
uh, within I think 15-20 days, I got the admit letter for interview.
Right.
And there was and after the interview call letter, I had only 5 days. I think 5 to 6 days.
Right.
And
Yeah,
entire 5 days, every day I was speaking to one or the other person,
one
because
or
we
the
have 5 sessions in ISB.
right. So I remember, that's when you start working with us for your interview preparation, and you've been speaking to different people, as you rightly pointed out. So how are these interactions helpful to you in building your thought process for your actual interview?
Like one line, what I have to say is I completely got a structured measurement of how to prepare. So that gave me the confidence. First of all, I'm obviously sure that I have the thing, like I have the courage to justify myself whatever I have done. And I have the knowledge enough. But what I needed is, like, I had a structured preparation for UPSC, but this is my new experience for me. An MBA, an
Yeah.
ISB interview is a new experience for me. So it got structured. Like, for example, I was speaking about Naveen Das, sir. So during the career goal session, he told that obviously there will be 5 to 6 minutes time where you will be asked about why MBA or what is your career goal. So then we finalized after the end of the interview, what sir and I finalized that let us link both the things together. So if they ask me about career goal, or if they ask me about why MBA or why ISB, the answer should be the same, because that would be the best holistic answer. So whether they ask me about why ISB or why MBA, I told that I have these kind of skills, which we noted down. Sir also gave me some tips. What are the skills I have? What are the skills I need from ISB or MBA? And these skills are necessary for my short-term goals, which are 1 to 3, my long-term goals, which are 1 to 3. So we interconnected both these things. So the entire preparation, I can say 50% of my preparation got completely structured within this one answer.
Right.
And it went through also. The first part of my interview was tell me about yourself.
Right.
And my background, whatever I did as IB and MPO. The second part was entirely within this single answer: why MBA, why SB, what are your short goals, what are long goals. I have prepared a single answer.
Right.
So that helped me a lot from Navinder sir's thing.
Right.
So and similarly, I think
Go ahead, please.
Shafali also told me that during one mock, at the end of the mock, I think she asked me, "Do you have anything to ask?" I thought I was interacting with Shafali only. I said, "No, nothing. All my doubts are clear." Then she made me realize that, see, this is a mock, and you have to understand that during the mock, at the end of the interview, I mean, during the ISB interview, at the end, you should particularly ask a question. And that question should make them understand that this guy is a proactive guy who is willing to learn.
Right.
He's always willing to learn.
Right.
So that went into my head. I noted down. Like I strictly followed it. Even during the interview, the single tip what I followed was at the end of the interview, I should be asking a very good question.
Right.
So I noted 2 to 3 questions which I wanted to know from the panel.
Right.
So like that. So
Great.
obviously, every person whom I spoke was of immense value to me.
Great. So looks like the way the preparation went, maximum questions came from all these your preparation in your actual interview. Great, nice
Sure.
to hear that. So now that you have an admit, what are you looking forward to do before you join the program?
Before joining program, like obviously, I got a mail that I think in the second week of March I'll be getting some normal courses, core courses like finance and
Yes.
accounting from ISB.
Yes.
So obviously, because I'll get my sabbatical leave approved within a week or two, so I would start working on that because I have no background at all in finance or accounting. So I just want to brush up the basic courses like finance, accounting, and statistics to be at par with other uh, people who come from finance or business domains. Second thing, I also want to mentally draft some things like which might be helpful for my case studies and
Right.
resumes in the future.
Right. Right.
Two
Great.
things what I want.
Were there any questions around UPSC, in your actual interview?
No, they did not ask anything
They did
about
not
my
ask.
UPSC preparation.
UPSC preparation.
And like intentionally, we also did not project much of my 4 years UPSC
Yeah.
preparation.
Because, of late, we are receiving many applicants who have prepared for UPSC, but unfortunately, you know how tough it is, right? So not many actually are able to crack it. So
Yes,
they
yes.
are getting little concerned that, what should we do and what should we do? How do we present it? Because achieving something out of the exam, uh, succeeding in the exam and getting in a post, then everything is very positive. Okay. But
Yes.
what if you do not, achieve it, or what if you do not get what you are planning for? Then how do we cover these things in the profile of an applicant?
My opinion is like the achievement rate is 0.1% in UPSC.
Yes. Yes.
So I like many of my friends. We discussed that the UPSC exam is not tough. The competition is tough.
Yes. Yes.
Suppose if there is no competition and UPSC asks the aspirants to just qualify a certain mark, there are many lakhs of aspirants in India who can qualify it. But because the applicants are about 5 lakhs and the posts are less than 800 or 900, it is just less than 0.1%.
Right.
So the exam is tough. Similarly, every exam in India is tough. Like IIT JEE is also tough, CAT is tough, GMAT is tough, everything.
I think
So what I feel is
the important point you made, Harshit, here is that the exams are fine, but it's the competition which makes it super tough.
Yeah, it's tough. So, for example, when I come to MBA, what I got to understand is it's not about whether you qualify in the exam, but what you learn from the exam and whether you are able to implement the knowledge or not. So, I was very confident if they asked me about UPSC, I would obviously say that it is not a failure because I have achieved 2 other exams which are also having a very high competition.
Correct.
And second thing, in both these things, apart from a statutory job chart, I could step out of the box and implement some initiatives only because of the UPSC preparation and the confidence it gave me. So had I not prepared for UPSC and come into these jobs, I would have just blindly read the paper. What is my job chart? Day one, do this, day two, do this. That would have been the thing. So in both the roles where I was, I had marked a print on the minds of the people and the staff I worked with only due to the confidence UPSC preparation gave me. So my staff and my friends also remember me for the kind of opinions I have in the society and the kind of initiatives I bring to the table. So I would suggest the same to all the UPSC aspirants because every UPSC aspirant puts in hours and years of hard work leading the country.
Yes.
And we are the only people to do that, reading about the country for years together without earning anything, without thinking anything. So UPSC aspirants are all a very important pool of resource the country has to utilize.
Yes.
Whether it is through ISPs or IIMs or lateral entry opportunities. So these 2 to 3 lakhs of serious people are very important resource for the country in my view.
I think one of the other important point you made, Harshit, also is that do not see as a failure even if you're not able to crack your the admit through the UPSC.
Yes.
See that as a holistic experience. Take the strengths from there and then build further on that. Before we wrap this up, what is your advice to prospective applicants who come with similar experience? Basically coming from experience of working with either the central government or the state government.
My experience is once GMAT or GRA is completed, only focusing about what they have done, like
Right.
what they have gained, and how they are being implemented, like whatever role they are doing in central government or state government. Obviously, they are doing good work.
Indeed.
They are doing work which is useful for the country. So they should appreciate it, recognize it, and they should first write it on paper. Because what we do a mistake in government is when I compare with my wife or other corporate people, whatever they do, they put it in their resume. We don't do in government actually. So even if we achieve a lot, even if we do crores of projects, we forget it the next year itself because we don't report it anywhere.
Right.
So many times it doesn't come in newspaper. It is not in the LinkedIn. So I also understood that like government servants also should start projecting efficiently and
Yeah.
professionally in LinkedIn and other platforms, like what they are doing, what kind of roles doing,
Yeah.
because that gives the confidence. When in the interviews also, when someone asks, many government officials may not even tell what they have done their best. So first of all, that the drafting is very important, which I have done especially before my ISB preparation.
Right.
So obviously, if they draft their resume well, obviously they will get an idea what are their strengths and their weaknesses. Only then they can direct their interviews or direct their application as such to their advantage, which I could do successfully in this time. So that is my suggestion.
That's very, very valuable
Every
input.
person is an so every officer is an important resource for the country.
Indeed.
So any government employee, if he gets higher education, it would be contributing to the country itself, not just to the individual.
Yeah.
So like that.
Great. Thank you so much, Harshit, and we wish you all the best. Do keep in touch. Okay. And we would love to, help you in any other way which is possible from our end. Okay. And thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you,
this
Kiran. Thank
video. I'm sure it will go a long way, especially to people who come with relevant experience and who are viewing this video to plan their decision of doing an MBA and also preparing for the application and the interview. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you.